Just one of them, yeah.
And, but the thing was, is that he'd never seen me do that.
You are a
He knew I
superstar
did it.
volunteer.
But he
That's
was
right,
like-
don't you forget.
And he was like,
I couldn't possibly,
you really love it.
I couldn't possibly forget.
You know, but it was just, so it's nice to see the other
How
side.
are ya?
of Your spouse,
bad,
so you
not
can
bad.
kind of,
Saw you
their
the other
world,
day.
you know?
Saw you at the
Talking about
night.
stuff. I don't know, if I can really dip into the extra part of the group, because if I know your husband shows up for this thing, he seems to be just right.
There you go.
That wouldn't bother me if it's the only place you sit down on the squat.
Well, I want to sit my son.
Like if you're gonna take a picture.
And so he's blown away.
I don't like
Because he's just always in the middle part. And, anyway, we went to his 50th high school.
There's a lot of things that is like that. Like,
Everybody knows you. The best time they catch it up, you know, but
and it's not
I,
really
you know, like I
tasty.
said, I grew up with her and I worked in staffing.
I'll make it. I won't eat any of it, but I'll make it.
Here and here.
Okay, there you go. Okay. Walking below the gateway drive. There you go. Takes you on the straight avocado.
I made time for it because I've got friends in, you know, in England and places like that I would never get to go with, and so it's a great way to go. And then all over the United States because I travel. So, I know they didn't mean for it to be us, that's what they created Facebook.
I don't have some of the old people use presentation.
Now it's like Snapchat, Instagram, and I just don't want it. Because I'm hanging out with you. Okay?
Hang on.
Sadly, yes.
How are you? You're good.
You know, I had tabletop yesterday.
be starting, give us about 2 minutes, and then we'll start our presentation. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started today. Thank you all so much for being here and welcome. My name is Whitney Johnson, and I serve as one of the co-chairs for the UH Staff Council Staff Affairs Committee, alongside with my co-chair, Seth Evans. And we're just really excited to have each of you here, especially braving the cold and wet weather that we have outside. Today's event really expands upon Dr. Couture's fall address, Building Momentum. As the University of Houston continues to build momentum to transform itself, UH Staff Council is dedicated to building in that momentum the people at the core of this institution, the staff. We are excited to have representatives from UH Human Resources Office here to provide information and information on professional development opportunities and initiatives, representatives from Toastmasters International, as well as a panel of 5 of U of H's very own amazing staff, where they will share their story and career path at U of H and provide opportunity for you all to engage in conversation and ask questions. We hope that when you leave here today, you will feel inspired to transform yourself and build momentum towards advancing your career at U of H. So without further ado, please help me in welcoming Ruth Wheat, Manager of Talent Acquisition of Human Resources.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting us. We always get tickled when someone invites us somewhere, so thank you. Thank you for that. We're going to be talking about Catalyst today and what we've got to offer for you, and then my colleagues at Toastmasters will stand up and give you some information about that program and what we're going to be offering. But if you have any questions along the way, please just wave or something, and we'll stop and answer your questions. Teams and leadership and a host of other opportunities. And since we launched Catalyst in June, we have trained over 250 staff employees. So we're very excited about that. And how many of you had an opportunity to be in a Catalyst class? Yay! Okay. Well, it's good to see you. And when we created Catalyst, what we decided to do was begin first with doing roles-based training. We have courses for individual contributors. Those are people that do not have folks reporting to them. We have supervisor development. Those may have 1 or 2 folks that are more that interact as their leader. management development. Those are typically people that are managers of a department. And then our senior leadership, which would include people at in executive level positions. Then we offer lunch and learns, and those lunch and learns are at no charge, and we have a lot of different topics. And Vicki, my colleague back there, that's Vicki Ralston, we have a lot of attendance at those, don't we? And so without her, we would certainly not be anywhere where we are today. And then team development. How many of you have had an opportunity to do a team building event? Yay! She's a frequent flyer. I love having her around, absolutely. But yes, we do a lot of team building events with departments, and we're going to be doing one for Russ's department, audit, coming up. So if you would like to talk to folks in your department about doing And then, of course, we have our new employees that we bring on board. Some of the courses that we are offering in the spring, Exploring Leadership, Effective Communications. I'm going to get to Pathway to Leadership in just a moment. Developing the leader within you, and this is finding out what we have in us that help us propel us into leadership. How do you win over conflict? Anybody ever have any conflict in your world? Good. Okay, we'll come to that class. One of my favorites is Coaching for Improved Work Performance, and this is for first-line supervisors, and it answers the question, why don't people do what they're supposed to do, and what to do about it? So that's one of my favorite courses to teach. And then we're going to be offering some new programs, Introduction to the 4 Essential Roles of Leadership for our managers. Appreciative Inquiry is all about turning the tables on the management of people or the leadership of people in a positive way instead of a negative way. So that's going to be a good program. And then we have Leading the Different Communication Styles. How many have taken communication styles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many of you are Ds? Anybody a D in here? No Ds. How about I? Yay, me too. How about S? Anybody an S? Oh, very good, very good. She's very sweet. You'll love working with her. And then C's. Oh, look at all the C's in the room. Okay, very good. So you keep us eyes under control is what you do. But if you have not had an opportunity to be involved with DISC, please sign up for the next opportunity for the course. It's a great experience, but it really helps us learn how to communicate with each person we work with. And then we're going to be doing some work around leading at the speed of trust for our executive officers, and 7 habits of leaders and how to coach their team to higher performance. New lunch and learns. We have crucial accountability. We did crucial conversations, right, Vicki? That was very well received, and now it's crucial accountability. Then we're going to have a course around bootstrap leadership, and also creative problem solving. So, and a host more, but hopefully you'll have an opportunity to participate. And then you'll notice under there I have listed 7 habits of highly effective people, Discover UH, and custom team building workshops. The purpose of that is to let you know that there are going to be courses across all different paths that you can take. And so there'll be all different levels of folks in the class, which will add a real richness and a learning opportunity. And so if you have a chance to take one of these courses, then you'll be interacting with people all over the campus. Discover UH, it will actually be taught by executive or leaders in our community. As a matter of fact, Russ Hoskins is with us today, and he's going to be one of our instructors in that. So I hope that you take advantage of that. It teaches us all about everything UH, okay? And there's a lot to learn, but we're looking forward to that. I wanted to share something with you that we're very excited about. Last year when we were with you, we were chatting with people at our table, and several people came up to me and said, you know what, Ruth, we're excited about Catalyst, but what we don't know is if you'll have anything for those of us that are not in management, but we'd like to at some point or get into some sort of a leadership role. So we listened to you, and since that time we have created Pathway to Leadership. And this program is a year-long program that is designed to take anybody that has an interest and is recommended by their manager, they've been here a year, at least a year, to actually start taking all of the courses that you in this area. So we'll be working on Introduction to Leadership, professional development, communication. These are all very important. Let's see, what's a good word for it? These are characteristics of leaders, and so we'll be looking at quality orientation, innovation, which is one of my favorites, building trust, customer service, diversity and inclusion, coaching and development, managing conflict, adaptability, that's certainly something we have to do as leaders, initiating and taking action, making decisions, planning, and then job knowledge and skills, which will be part of that experience. This will be made up of a combination of classroom, also you'll do online study, and individual coaching. So this is not for the weak-hearted. If you decide that you want to be involved, we're going to launch this in January. And we'll each one of you that participates will get a learning journey. And that'll walk you through everything that you're going to be focusing on. And at the end of the year, you'll receive a certificate. There's no guarantee you'll get promoted. That's up to you, right? But you will have the tools that you need to be successful in the next stage of your career. So thank you, those of you that gave us the idea, and we look forward to having you all in Pathway to Leadership. We have, I think December the 2nd, right, Vicki, is our date for you to go to our website and take a look at all the courses that we're going to be offering. What did I say? 2? What about 2? What did I say? I'm good. Okay. Okay. December the 2nd, we're going to post all of the dates of our courses. Now, I would love to, because I'm an I, and I like to just get everything, go, go, go. I would love to do 5 or 6 or 8 classes a month. I don't know that we're able to do that, but so we'll do as many as we can that we feel are good for you, and want you to sign up quickly. I think every class that we've had so far, we've had a waiting list, and that's exciting. So, and if we have a big waiting list, then we'll just put another date on the calendar so we can get people. So we're excited about you having that opportunity. So check in December the 2nd, and you'll get to see when and where, and go ahead and start signing up. And we'll look forward to having you. Our guests today are our colleagues with Toastmasters. And we're very excited about this relationship because they will offer some amazing tutelage and programs that you will find very beneficial to your career. So at this time, I would like to invite Pamela McCown up and have her share with you a little bit about Toastmasters. I'm going to hand this off to you. Sorry, all the noise. There you go. Thank you.
I'm going to do it this way. Can you hear me now? Hi, I'm Pamela McCown. I've been in Toastmasters since 2001. I joined Toastmasters at Chase Bank, and we had a diversity mentoring program where I had to apply to be accepted into the program with senior management from Chase Bank. There were 16 proteges, 16 mentors. Imagine someone who is not really a public speaker doing their first speech in front of 60 people and beginning with a song. No pressure, no pressure. But I was more comfortable singing than speaking. I had grown up in the church, sang solos, had the choir behind me, but the choir was always behind me, not solo, right? You have the microphone, you have the choir, and they call that a solo, but you're really not solo. I came to Toastmasters, and in my icebreaker speech, is what they call the first speech, I sang Amazing Grace. And then I talked about grace is divine love and protection bestowed upon people. So love, protection, people. 3 points, 3 stories, I've got a speech. So in creating a speech, you want to know what you want people to know what you want people to feel, and then know what you want people to do. So what I wanted them to know was where I came from. What I wanted them to feel was comfortable. And what I wanted them to do was join Toastmasters. as a result of hearing my speech. So in the bank at that time, I was at Chase Bank, the tagline was, relationship is everything. On all the commercials, relationship is everything, Chase Bank. So in my speech, I sang first, then I did my speech, and then at the end, I had them sing with me. You know the verse, when we've been there 10,000 years? And they all stood up, and we all sang together. And I said, the difference is, you can go it alone. You can sing by yourself, and it's a sweet sound. It's a good sound. It doesn't sound bad. But isn't it so much richer and fuller when you add the other people and start to build relationships with the other people? Because relationship is everything. Oh, wow, this brought down the house. All the managers were so impressed, which was exactly what I was going for. But what I've learned in Toastmasters, it is the relationships that are everything. I'm going to bring up a couple of my colleagues to tell you their story about Toastmasters. First of all, Russ Hoskins, I met a couple or 3 years ago when we were rolling out a new program for Toastmasters. We call it, guess what? Pathways. Okay. So we have pathways in Toastmasters as well, so there's some synergy with your pathways to leadership. Please help me welcome Russ Hoskins.
So I heard about Toastmasters 35 years ago. Can you get a mic? I'll get a mic. Okay. Is it working? I need to turn it up.
They'll do it.
Huh?
They'll do it back.
Oh, you'll do it. Okay. You guys good? All right, I'm loud now. Well, 35 years ago, I found out about it. It was my first internal audit job. And for y'all don't know me, I'm Russ Hoskins. I'm the Assistant Chief Audit Executive. I've been here 22 years. But 35 years ago, I heard about my first job. And my boss and a couple other people in the department were in there. And they were so excited about it. And they're kind of goofy in the office about it. I said, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to public speak. I'm not going to do any of this stuff. So I blew it off. As years went by, my communication skills improved and improved more and more. But 5 years ago, I thought to myself, my boss, Don, he's been here 32 years, he's going to retire. So I'm thinking, well, if I'm going to be able to communicate with the board, I better know how to speak publicly. So he's retiring right now. So I'm in the hunt for his job right now. This is his last board meeting, was just a few hours ago. We were in there. So, but 5 years ago, I decided I want to tell a better story, and I want to be prepared for the moment I was a CAE. Now, I was real uncomfortable speaking in front of people. I didn't do it in my job. I had one-on-one meetings, group meetings, sitting down. But standing up, let me tell you, it's a whole nother story. But after 5 years of being with Toastmasters, as you can tell, I'm at ease up here. And I don't really have much of a problem. I have some anxiety because it's energy to make me do this, and it's fantastic. But it's not that nervous energy. So what Toastmasters has done for me, it gave me a place to practice. And practice is really the number one thing, a place to practice in an environment that supports you. So you can fail as much as you want to in the Toastmasters Club, and it doesn't matter, because everybody there is trying to do the same thing. They want to be better leaders and better speakers. So you have people in the same predicament, and which is great. And I've got a lot of support from these ladies right over here and other club members I've been with, and it's been fantastic. So I can tell a joke now. I'm not going to do a joke now. I can do it without a problem. I can tell a much better story. As you can tell, I'm telling my story right here. But the other more important thing in my career, without this, I don't think I'd be comfortable in front of y'all or in front of the board. I do have speaking parts in the board meeting. And if I get Don's job, that'll be more of a speaking moment in that one. And they'll grill me and all that stuff there. But I think Toastmasters has taught me, gave me the confidence. And the people in there, I've made a lot of friends, including these two ladies, and it's good relationships. And we're out to help each other. So that fear of coming up and speaking to people is basically gone. And it took a few years. That first icebreaker, like Pamela was talking about, I'm there shaking my knees and doing this kind of stuff and doing that. But it's over now. And I was president of an organization, actually, where there's a Texas Association of College University Auditors. I was president. And I had to speak in front of about 100 people. And I'm there, and it's the same podium thing. I can't stand behind a podium. I walked around with a mic, but I was nervous as can be. And I'm shaking inside. I'm nervous. My knees are doing their thing. No one noticed it, but I did. I felt uncomfortable. I don't feel uncomfortable anymore. And the reason why I'm even here today, why we're here, is because I want to start a club at UH for staff to give back to UH and to everyone that wants to be a better speaker and leader. There's leadership roles, and of course, a bunch of public speaking roles in there. And I think it's been fantastic. And the relationships I've built and the practice I've had and the experience I gained has been just outstanding. So I'm here to serve y'all, and I hope you all do this. I hope you all join. I hope y'all don't wait 35 or 30 years like I did to join, because you miss out on a whole lot. And I hope y'all don't miss out on all that. So thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Karen Blake. She has a story about building more momentum to advance your career. Do you see that there's so much in common with what Ruth is doing here at University of Houston? Please help me welcome past International Director from the Board of Directors of Toastmasters, Distinguished Toastmaster Karen Blake.
I am so happy to be here with you. I want to share my story about Toastmasters. I'm retired now, but I'm a retired managing director from Deloitte, which is one of the big 4 accounting firms downtown. I first worked at Arthur Andersen and then at Deloitte in almost 25 years in my career. Early in my career at Arthur Andersen, we started a Toastmaster club, much like you'll be doing here. I joined. I still remember my first speech. I made everybody laugh, and it scared me to death. You want to see how? I said, I work out. There you go. They're still laughing. All these years later, they still laugh. Why is that? Okay, maybe I don't look like I work out. So from that day, I stayed in Toastmasters, and I learned and I grew. It helped me with my career. I started out by teaching training classes at work. I moved forward to leading on calls that were national calls where I was a subject matter expert. And then I graduated to leading at conventions where we had our clients, and I served on panels and spoke before thousands of people. So it did help me progress in my career. However, the story I want to share with you was how I got promoted to managing director. It's quite a process in public accounting. I had to give a 15-minute speech followed by 15 minutes of Q&A before a board of about 30 partners from regional level. I was a little bit nervous. I worked on my speech for about 6 months. Then I thought, hey, I have a professional speech coach in my Toastmasters club. Let me get his help. He came to the office one day. He heard my speech. Do you know what he said? He said, well, that sounds pretty good, but let's just throw it out and start over. Did I mention this was 2 weeks before the interview? Yeah, after I picked myself up off the floor, I took his advice. He was absolutely right. I came in with a bang, told him why they needed to promote me, told them what I was going to tell them, then told them what I told them. They got it. I got promoted. At my retirement party, I just want to add that my lead partner for all those years really touched my heart when he said that out of the group of 15 people being promoted, I was second from the top. That's what Toastmasters did for me. It made my career. I'd like to hand it back to Pamela.
So those are just a couple of testimonials out of thousands and thousands of people that have been through Toastmasters programs. And we just really want to welcome you at University of Houston, especially the staff people here, to try it, to come and join us. And now I return control to Ruth Wheat.
Thank you. Well, hopefully you got a good taste of what's available to you today. We're very excited about this relationship. We're going to have a table outside that will have all kinds of information about Toastmasters for you, and also Vicki and I will be there. But I wanted to see if anybody had any quick questions before we said goodbye or adios. Anybody? Yes? Yes. Yes. Okay, the question, thank you. The question was, is there some sort of a structure for Pathway to Leadership and the cost? And will that be online? And the answer to that is absolutely. Yes. And because you're in Pathway to Leadership, it's a significant discount in a lot of the courses. Yes?
Give a rough estimate of what the time commitment is if you join the Toastmasters on the UH campus.
Okay. Russ?
Time commitment is for life. I'm not going anywhere. No, seriously. It's what it is we have memberships, it's 6-month memberships on there. I believe it's $45 for international. We'll probably have a club fee too. And, but yeah, it's for 6 months. And what we're talking about doing is have it once a week, probably on Tuesday. We have a demo meeting set up, get scheduled for January 21st. And it's an hour long, like 12 to 1, something like that, to make it convenient for folks. And, but I'm making a lifetime. These ladies have made a lifetime. And after I got in there, and the harder you work at it, the more you enjoy it, the more you build relationships, and the more you want to be in there for a life. And this is just, I hope everyone joins this club on campus here, but there's clubs all over Houston. And any club will help anybody out.
So you meet once a week?
That's what we're planning on doing, yes.
Got it.
For
1 hour.
For 1 hour.
So when everything's timed, so we get you in and get you out. Okay.
Russ, will you guys have possibly do an assessment or survey of times that would be helpful for a lot of the different staff?
Yes, we'll talk about that, because if the demand's huge, we don't want to make these clubs too big, because you don't get as much opportunity to speak. So if I have to open up a second club, I will. If I get somebody else to open another, we will. We'll see how this works. And I think the first, the demo meeting will give us a good idea. We'll send out some flyers to do a RSVP, and then we'll have some other literature and stuff that we'll have at the table, and I'll have my business cards. But you can call me and ask whatever question you all have on this, so it's not a problem. So any other questions on Toastmasters? You got me now, y'all.
Okay. Well, we're going to meet you outside. I got this message, so that means wrap it up, right? Before I say goodbye for a few minutes, I want to, you can't build a program like this unless you have executive support. And Vicki and I work very closely together, and she's a rock star. If you haven't been in her class, just make sure you go to one of her classes, because she's a rock star. But I wanted to say a special thank you to Connie Kemp. She's here with us. Connie, can you stand up, please? Without Connie's guidance and support, we would not have Catalyst, so thank you. Keep it on? Okay. Oh, we're drawing.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay.
So we're raffling off.
We're raffling off for 2 people a tuition for any Catalyst course that you are qualified to take. Okay? So the first one is 826242. Rut-row. Oh,
Everybody
do we have a
else?
hand? Is that a person? Hello? Did you get it? Oh, you're just waving. Okay. Okay, here it is. One more time. 826242. Okay. Well, that's all right. So far, so good, right? 826241. Yay!
Crystal, if you can come up front.
You don't have to speak. Unless you go to Toastmasters. Then we're going to call on you. Here you are. Oh, I believe you. Thank you.
If you want
Congratulations.
To hang out with us, and then we'll get a picture with
Okay.
both our winners.
One more. 826218. Yay! Okay, fantastic. Oh, here it is. Mm-hmm. Give this back to you because I'll be able to. Here we go.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you outside. Oh, you've taken one more. Whoa. One more. Okay. I feel like the paparazzi. This is so exciting.
And as we finish up, with our pictures here, we're going to go ahead and get started with our panelist discussion. So we'll ask them to come up here in just one moment. And then also, we do have a couple of gifts for our HR partners. And Whitney's going to hand those out to y'all. Miss Connie, we have a gift for you. And at this time, we're going to go ahead and invite our panelists up. We've got Mr. Rose, Miss Valdez, Miss Summers, and then Miss Howard and Miss Winters. Join us. He'll be our moderator for this half of the event.
All right, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming to the Conversations event. We really enjoy this one. Do we have another slide for the panelists, or should I just clear it? There we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with introductions, and I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves just so that I don't do a terrible job. But we'll go ahead and start with Tiba Rose.
My name is Tiba Rose. I'm the marketing manager for student housing and residential life, and I've been here at the University of Houston for 11 years.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Esmeralda Valdez. I'm the Executive Director for University Services within the Office of Administration, which falls within Administration and Finance Division. I've been with the university for 27 years.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Natalie Sumrow. I am the Director for the Undergraduate Advising Center, the College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics. I am a very proud Cougar 3 times over. I'm a graduate of the Bauer College of Business, and I think I've hit my 20-year mark, but I sort of stopped counting because that makes me feel old. But a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Tanya Winters. I am the Office Supervisor for Counseling and Psychological Services. I have been at the university for 12 years, 10 years with the university and 2 with core staff. And I'm also a Toastmaster.
Oh, very
nice.
And I am Kim Howard. I am the Senior Director of Development for the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences. I just crossed the 25-year mark, and I'm also a fairly recent alum of my college, and that's my team right there on the third row.
Yay, team. All right, I do have a fairly lengthy list of questions that came in from the RSVP, so really from y'all. But we really wanted this to be more of an interactive event. We wanted to make sure that y'all felt like your questions were being answered directly. So I'd like to go ahead and open it up to the audience. And what questions do you have? What would you like any or all of our panelists to talk about? I'm not going to call on anybody, and I'll just start reading questions here in a second. Please.
One of the things I wanted to know is, on your path to get to the position you are there any allies or specific people that you can reach out here on campus that would be helpful? Well, who do you recommend a staff member, can reach out to, or what resources are out there that we don't know about?
And for the microphone, basically, what resources, what people would you reach out to as you're furthering your career with the university?
I'll weigh in first, and I'll just say, for me, the whole campus was that ally. So whether it was a peer in another college that I was sharing, questions or interests with, or people that I worked with that were either pulling out of me what I thought my next career step was going to be, or me raising my hand and saying, I think I might want to do X or Y. I mean, there are allies everywhere across the campus.
I think for me, once I got over my fear, thanks to Toastmasters, of actually just taking the initiative to invest in myself, my greatest ally was actually my director in my department. I talked to her about the things that I had wanted to do for my career, and she supported me. So that helped me move into my next place, which was my HR partner. And so with my director and Claudette Davis, who was here at the university, she helped me navigate what it is that I wanted to do, and then started me on the path of obtaining that.
I would agree. I think the campus as a whole really, your teachers are all around you and they surround you in everything. Certainly, I think there's the notion that you should always choose the mentor and the person whose job you want. I was fortunate enough to have a fantastic manager, the same manager for over 15 years. And so, and he was particular about demonstrating in me that he cared more about me as a person than my personal output, which was an incredible model for me to follow as a leader. And it's something that I think I try to carry on as a manager within my own department. But I think they're everywhere. The people that celebrate you the most will tell you, so your parents or family, because they think you're the greatest thing that's ever been invented. But you should really listen to them because they see you in a different light and they see you in a way that no one else can. So listen to the good things that people say about you and to you, and just work on developing that.
So I think we're just going in order. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So yes, I would definitely agree with everything that's been said so far. I would add that part of that is being an ally for yourself. So I've started here as a part-time student worker right out of high school back in '92. Nobody do the math. But within that year, I was hired on as a full-time employee as a secretary to, back then, what was the bursar's office, which is now the Student Financial Services Office. But being in that role taught me a lot, and even that short time frame, very young, right out of high school, starting with the university, and I surrounded myself with lots of people, and I had to take the courage to ask questions. As you can imagine, being a student myself, working in a place where you have to pay for your tuition, and then telling other students, you have to pay for your tuition, right? So relating to my peers that way, but also understanding the structure of the department and the university. So really, as far as an ally, yes, the campus, the entire campus, you build relationships, you make connections, but then really looking within yourself and be your own ally, and don't be afraid to step out of a comfort zone. It's easy to say now, but I promise you, it's scary. But it's surrounding yourself with those folks that are your supporters, your cheerleaders, whether it's a direct supervisor, a friend, a colleague, someone you met. But just venture outside. The university has so many opportunities outside of your immediate area, whether events, student programming, even if you're not sure, if you just to go knock on someone's door and introduce yourself. That takes a lot to do. But once you get to that point that you're able to do that, you will be welcomed. I feel like this whole institution embraces us. It's just a matter of us actually stepping out and asking and just being a little brave.
I would agree with everything that everyone has said. I would just ask you to be the person you would want to refer to someone. And what's key there is you can find an ally, but if you haven't established yourself as dependable, noteworthy, you go above and beyond, you are the person that someone can stamp their approval on, then the ally won't help you. So if you can do that, then when someone needs some assistance or something comes up, your name will come up. Now that your name has come up, now that when you ask a person to be your ally or be the person who can support you in getting a position or something you're looking for, it's very easy for them to say, I know the quality of work you do and the type of person you are. I have no problem writing a letter for you or supporting the decision to even give you an interview. And I think, so you can find the allies, but you have to be the person that's worthy of connecting.
And I'm just going to go ahead and piggyback just a little bit on what Tiva said. And someone else mentioned kind of making connections outside of your immediate area, outside of where you work. And one of the best ways I've found for doing that is all of the different volunteer opportunities all over the place where you can then establish yourself as the person that somebody wants to refer you to. And there are hundreds and hundreds of volunteer opportunities all across campus. Just to mention a couple of staff council ones, of course, the spring egg hunts coming up, the Cougar First Impressions, but then, you know, every year we do Cougar Movers, and the Division of Student Affairs does things like that. But to more directly answer your question, from my perspective, one of the best people I've ever known told me once, it's amazing what you can get in this world if you're just willing to ask. Sometimes it takes you out of your comfort zone to ask, but if you don't ask the question, they don't know what you want. Other comments? Anything on this topic that anybody would like to say? Other questions? Try to put a microphone in front of you.
I'm curious how, or to know about the path each of you took to get to where you are. Was it within one unit, or did you change departments, change colleges, change, division, et cetera?
Okay, so my path is totally different than the traditional method of success. So prior to coming to the University of Houston, I'd worked for Xerox for some years, and I'd worked for Abbott Laboratories for some years, so I did outside sales. And I came to the University of Houston technically to start in the wonderful world of marketing here and to have a family. Since then, we have a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old, and things are rocking and rolling. I started as the marketing manager, and I'm currently the marketing manager. And here's what I recognized. I recognized the things that I love, that I'm passionate about my job. Getting a promotion to my supervisor would not make that possible. I wouldn't want to be my supervisor. In terms of what I do professionally, that's not what they do. And I also recognize that sometimes you may want to get a promotion in that one linear line, but that wouldn't be the thing that would make you happy. It would be the thing that would pay you more, and that's fantastic. So I thought about it and said to myself, if my challenge is income, what can I do to support the things that I love here, but financially achieve all my financial goals? And since I've been at the university, I've had an opportunity to study abroad, become an author, become a speaker, and do so many other things that the university has allowed me to do and use my skill set to do, from speak at other conferences here at the University of Houston and so many other things. So I've been able to utilize my support and skills here to truly become successful in everything else I've always wanted to do. And then I also looked at every other marketing person's opportunity here to see, do I want that position or this position? And economically, there wasn't much of a change. So the only change would have been what I was doing, not necessarily the income I was making. So at that point, I realized I couldn't title success with whether or not it was this position, if that makes sense.
We're going to go in order. Okay. If you want. Sure. So for me, I started as a part-time student worker a long time ago. And within the year, I was promoted or hired into a full-time position. Throughout the years, I think what drove my growth within, so to answer your first question is, I've been within the Division of Administration and Finance throughout my entire University of Houston career. I've worked only here at the University of Houston within higher education. I'm also a graduate of Bauer. Yay! And then I went and obtained my master's from the College of Education and Higher Education. And I'm currently a doctoral student within the College of Education, the same higher ed policies, higher leadership and policies. So U of H is my home. I'm completely in love with the university, and I love everything that it's continuing to grow and transform, and this is so amazing to be here today.
But so I stayed within the administration and finance division, but within the division, I was able to serve in different roles throughout the whole pathway. And I think when I was thinking about this panel and thinking, well, I think one of the questions was, what sets you apart, or how did you get to where you are? And I think the term that I'll use is professional courage. I was asked, I see myself as a problem solver. I'm very detail oriented. I love learning, as you can probably tell from being in education and continuing my to study and learn. So I like to learn new things, and I like to figure things out. So whenever I was tapped and asked to assist in an area or help with a specific problem or an opportunity presented itself, I didn't back away from it, even though I had no clue what it was, how it operated, who the players were. I had allies, friends within this community, and I was okay to ask the question. And I was also okay to say, I have no idea. I don't know, but I will find out. And even by doing that professional courage, I was able to build relationships and build skills, increase my competencies, learn how to navigate different areas. A perfect example that I'll give you is, I'm have a business background, then went into higher education, and then I was asked, hey, we really need some help in real estate. Can you help us within the real estate? I'm not a real estate professional, but all the other skills and competencies that I had built, you can consider them as transferable, were relatable. And so I was able to step in and learn some of those pieces, and was able to successfully help transition right into that area. So to sum all that up is, there is not one concrete path. I mean, there isn't, you do this and you do this and you do that. If you are fortunate enough to have a supervisor and a unit that supports your development, that supports your growth, that's great. But even if you don't have that, I think having that courage to go and seek it and ask and learn, you will build that pathway yourself.
So this has been really fresh on my mind. I am in the process of helping to provide input on who my next boss will be. And so, that's a fun place to be. But it really has had me sort of thinking about, my own path and listening to their stories and their narratives about how they got to where they were. And what's interesting, there are a couple of internal candidates, and one of them, I think, had very strategic sort of checkpoints for their career, which made a lot of sense. The other candidate, to me, which I think I think my own path mirrors that one, is a bit more reactionary. But I don't mean that everything was sort of haphazard. I mean that once those touch points, or once those points came or opportunities came, you certainly had to be prepared and ready for them. But it was also partially being open to something maybe that I had never considered. Mm-hmm. There are two fields that I swore on anyone's life that I was never going to go into: education and healthcare. I am now, have over 20 years in higher education, and I am now the director of a unit in which at least half of my students are aspirational pre-med. What happened? So to tell you quickly about my story, I came to the University of Houston to study chemical engineering. My dad was an engineer. My mother was a nurse, and her mother's name was Florence Nightingale. And all of theirs, and I'm not making this up. I was surrounded by medical people. Our next door neighbor on the left side was the dentist. On the right side was the person that delivered my brother. 2 doors down was the person that delivered me. So medical was everywhere, and I was not feeling it. And so I wanted to be an engineer like my father. I did all the preparation. I went to an engineering high school for 4 years. Came to the University of Houston. I chose U of H above a lot of other schools, including Rice, Carnegie Mellon, SMU, in which they offered full scholarships for me to come. But I chose here because I love U of H. Mm-hmm. I really do. It's such a home for me. And so I did my first internship at Texas Instruments, working in their defense systems engineering group, and oh boy, that was a sobering experience. The first thing I thought was who wants to do this all day long? I knew for sure it certainly wasn't me, and I had to have that dark night of the soul when I said, okay, this isn't good. I am now 3.5-ish years into my academic career. What do I do? But now I've really figured out that this is not what I want to do. It's a terrible inside secret. Who do I tell and what do I do? Well, I I'd always had an interest in business, and I was pretty good in math. So I said, maybe I'll major in finance. That sounds good. And I remember laughing. I took tests, and the finance professor was like, you got all the computational questions right and all of the concepts wrong. He said, what gives? I said, well, you can kind of backdoor the answers mathematically if you look into this formula. And he, just kind of like giving me this kind of look. But what makes me laugh about that, but the mathematical quantitative part of finance sort of kind of got me a little excited. And then once I finished my undergraduate degree in business there, I got accepted in the entrepreneurship program. In my first job, actually, I was asked to join the College of Hotel and Restaurant Management and Advising. And I love that too, but I wanted to finish my secondary program. Then I went to go work in environmental consulting. I'm telling you, so we're skating all over the park here, right? I went to work in environmental consulting, but it didn't have the warm fuzzy that I wanted. There was something lacking. If you've ever heard the notion that, of course you should do for your career what you would do in your spare time or what you would do for free or that kind, or if they paid you $1 million. Well, as a student, my favorite job I have ever had was being an orientation leader. And anyone who's ever done orientation for a university knows that those are some long hours, low pay, and downward mobility. Sign me up for that job. But it was fantastic. I loved helping students. I loved serving them. I loved making them feel welcome and part of a community that I was immensely proud of. Little did I know that was sort of the kind of what I like to call like a little God wink, saying, maybe you should be doing something like that. Maybe that's kind of where your heart is. And I never would have imagined myself working in higher ed. But here I am, and there are so many sort of confirmations throughout the tenure of my career that have helped validate that decision. So all of that to say, be open to kind of what's in front of you. I think the linear path, in my opinion, is probably about the most dangerous thing that anyone can think of, because you are not, when you're thinking linearly, you are not prepared for the unexpected.
So, like Tiba, I think I've been in my department the longest, but I did start out in admissions. So I did transfer and go into a different department. But my story a little bit is that I came from mental health background. So I worked at MHMRA. And so that's part of my passion, just being able to serve people in that community, which seeing the years and years and years of people coming through that system made me wonder, how can you get to them sooner? And my thoughts were, get them while they're impressionable. High school, college. So high school, I volunteered at my son's schools, but also to get them in this part of the system before they get really bad and need the help at MHMRA. So that's how I came to the university. But once I got here, oftentimes I saw that people would just come to work and go home, come to work and go home, come to work and go home. There was not a whole lot of times that I saw people that I work with try to create opportunities for themselves. And so I began to share with my director the things that I wanted to do, the things I can't stand water cooler conversations. And so how do I make a change in that? How do I make a difference in that? And I know that change had to be in me. So I did the step 1, step 2 here at the university. I did a course that I paid for myself at HCC. To better myself in some areas, and then of course the best investment was Toastmasters. One of my most memorable things I did, I was actually a competitor with one of the Tall Tales competitions, and I won second place for, actually the UH team was called Cougar Paws. So that was the name of our Toastmasters team, and I won second place for that competition. And so, long story short, you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in yourself and then create relationship with people that you feel that may have either been there before, or can help navigate you to where you need to be, including sometimes I'll say being intrusive, because I email Connie Kemp. I'm like, I need you to look over my stuff. I need you to tell me, how do I create my own career path here at UH? And she did meet with me, and we have this great relationship, but she helped me to navigate some things that I just think that oftentimes most people don't think to do, or don't think they have the courage to do. And my granddaddy once told me that any question that you want to ask, just ask it. Just ask the question, and you never know where that's going to go for you. So I started out in the admissions department as an admissions clerk, handling transcriptions, but my heart is with counseling and psychological services, and that's what I do to support the students here for their success.
The only stupid question is the one you don't ask.
Exactly.
And I actually did make 4 big kind of jumps in my career here, so I did switch around. So I started in the radio station at Houston Public Media, and I was there for about 5 years working and getting nonprofit underwriters. And I would say my calculus throughout my whole career has always been sort of career satisfaction, and thinking about how much fun I'm having, how can I accommodate family life, and then money. And actually the money usually just kind of comes in third place, because it just kind of does. Your time with your family is so valuable. And so through one of the relationships at the radio station, somebody at the Campus Art Museum offered me the chance to come over there and work more in a fundraising capacity with their board and with their members. And I was having to wrestle with the question of, I love it here. Am I ready to leave? And can I do this new job? I'm not sure I can. But I made the jump, and I stayed at the Art Museum for almost 10 years, and it was great. And there was potentially the opportunity to advance there, but I didn't have an advanced degree. So I love my Bauer colleagues, but I will do a plug for the Master of Public Administration at UH. It is a fantastic degree for people who want to progress in, in a university or a government kind of job. I had a bunch of flyers that are sitting on my desk, but if you want to give me a business card, I'll email you information about the degree. So I got that degree while I was working, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder to move into fundraising in the college. And again, am I ready to leave this? I'm having a great time. And do I have the skills to do this? Just a lot of questions, but I made the jump, and then the final jump was moving fully into the advancement division, still working in our college. So all along the way, it was really a question of, have I learned everything that I can in this job, and or have I just kind of hit that threshold? And am I still able to accommodate these 3 things that keep me balanced and sane? So that's really, respect your expertise would be, be patient, be open, and respect your own expertise when you're making those decisions.
All right. There's actually a couple of questions on the question sheet that I have that kind of dovetail in with that, but I want to give you all the opportunity to ask something. Please. All right. So one of the questions I kind of saw repeated on that question list was basically around the theme of, how do you advance your career without necessarily having a degree? And I'm going to go ahead and take a contrary view and push back on that idea, because if you work at the University of Houston, there's almost no reason not to at least be pursuing a degree. If you don't know about it, the staff scholarship is $2,000 a semester. If you're talking about undergrad classes, I think that's about 3 classes a semester that you could take for free. I've done it before. I've been basically continually enrolled in college since 2001. Yeah. I mean, 2 classes at a time really is not that big a workload, even with kids, even, with all the other things that we have going on in our lives. I would highly encourage anybody to take advantage of the staff scholarship, because even 2 classes at a time, if you start without any degree at all, you're graduating with a bachelor's degree in 10 years. 2 classes. Most of the time you can. Most of the time, I think that you should be able to put yourself on a path to get admitted to the University of Houston. And anybody who thinks that they cannot, come see me. I'll be happy to help. There are certainly some paths that we can get ourselves on. So anyway, and just to tag on to that, I took 2 classes a semester entirely online and got my MBA from the University of Houston at Victoria in 2.5 years.
And we still have the college time release program, right? Where
We still do have the college time release program. Also availed myself of that, which is 3 hours a week where you can attend classes during business hours. And so that's basically 1 class a week where you can go during the workday, and the university is going to pay for it. For what it's worth, we're going to be working with the new director, or the new VP of HR. He told us that he wants to increase the staff scholarship so that we find it even easier to get our degrees while we're working here. And I got to tell you, it is spectacularly convenient to go to school where you work. I mean, it truly, truly is. So absolutely great input. Anyone else want to talk about that?
I do. I have so much to say on this. Shocking, right? So I definitely agree with the spirit of what you said. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever received was from Tom Gillis, who is recently deceased. He was an entrepreneurship professor in the Bauer College of Business. And he said, one of the best things you can ever do is to learn on somebody else's money. Get somebody else to pay you to learn something. And so maybe it isn't necessarily higher ed, but I would have a hard time being convinced that there is not something offered on this campus that either that a department would not support. And I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if it's public speaking in terms of Toastmasters. I don't care if it's taking the online offerings for becoming an Excel goddess. I don't care if it is learning how to do grant writing, arbitration, whatever it is, doesn't have to be a degree, but there are opportunities that are usually low, minimal cost or low cost all over the place. I think what your job is to become a great salesperson to your manager and your team and saying, hey, this is something that can add value to what we do, how we do it. We can do it. We don't have to work harder. We can work smarter if I learn this skill. Invest in me, and it pays off. Can it be revenue generating for the university? That's always a killer. Nobody says no. Well, man, this makes money for us. Nobody
student success
or student success. Nobody says no to more money or better student success. Period. So I'm extremely passionate about that because I think it's one of the most underutilized things. I like to think of. I had my second degree and my graduate degree paid for by the University of Houston. I considered it like a supplement because I wasn't getting paid a lot, I can tell you that. My salary was very modest, but I considered this like an additional salary. And not only was that money was working for me, not necessarily for them, because I'm the one that got the credential. That carries with me no matter where I go. So those are things to remember. Learn on somebody else's money.
Is it just for undergrad, the scholarship, or
The question from the audience is the staff scholarship just for undergrad? And the answer is no, absolutely not. It is for undergrad or graduate work. I'm currently using the staff scholarship for my PhD program.
Can I just add to something
Yes,
Natalie
please
said?
do.
My team is so good at asking for professional development opportunities, whether it is a class or a conference. There are a lot of things that you can do to just enhance your value. And on top of that, they are really teaching me a lot of things about building their own career value through LinkedIn, through using social media, through joining volunteer boards outside of the university. Trina's on staff council, and I think once people see those leadership capabilities and understand the value of the network, I mean, that's a huge career asset. So talk to them.
I'd also add, we've all looked at positions that say either this many years of college experience or this many years of college or this many years of experience. The thing we don't think about is because my job title may be X, I've never offered my position Y. So I've never offered myself to be able to do these additional things for this department because it's not my job title, but you could have. And that's where the development comes from. That's where while my job title is X, I'm experienced in Y, Z, Q, and that comes from knowing that you want those experiences and your supervisor and department working with you. But that's where now you have 6 years experience as a project lead or whatever the thing might be, even though you may be an administrator, right?
I have a question. In regards to mentorship, I think we mentioned it a little bit earlier. It is very hard for many people to find a mentor who is in a higher position. So you don't want your supervisor to be your mentor. You already know this person. So in order for you, if you're 25 years old and you just started working here and you plan on staying at the university for a long time, to move up in the ranks, obviously you need a degree and all that, but it's hard to find mentors. I don't see where there's a list of people who are willing to be mentors to total strangers. Somebody said, go knock on somebody's door. Well, I'm not going to do that. And not because I don't, but because everybody's so busy and nobody has time for you. But it would be nice, like we have mentors for students, right? Honors College has this group of third-year students who mentor the freshmen. But we don't have such a thing, I don't think we do, for staff.
So the short version of that question is for the mic is going to be how do I find mentors? What are some ways that I can find some people that are willing to mentor me?
I would briefly say mentors are all around you, and when we say that, any person who's in the position that you seek to learn from, you can ask. The challenge is when you ask a person to be your mentor, it's so open-ended that a person could say, well, I'm kind of tied up, I'm kind of busy. But that's not the question. The question is, would you mind if on occasion I would stop and ask a question or two that might lead me in the right direction? Would you mind if every now and then I pick your brain about something or a direction I'm trying to go in? Would you mind if I take you to lunch? Would you mind if I buy you a cup of coffee? Would you mind if I contribute to your success as you contribute to mine? That is a roundabout way of getting mentored, but if you ask the question of, would you be my mentor? Now I need to calculate how many hours do you want to meet and how much time do you want? Oh, I'm so busy. That I could say no to, but I can't say no to picking my brain. I can't say no to taking me to lunch. I can't say no to a cup of coffee. I can't say no to a 5-minute opportunity to just ask you a quick question. I'd never say no to that.
He's straight.
Yeah.
I actually reached out to Tiba to mentor me on some things and pick his brain, and he met with me and allowed me to pick. And not only did he allow me to pick his brain, he literally wrote out our conversation for the directions that he wanted to give me to help me advance myself in what it is that I wanted to do here at the university. So thanks.
I think another good source for mentors is faculty or administrators who've retired, who really want to keep a connection to the university. The former chancellor of the university is my mentor. He's great. He wants to stay involved. And that's an opportunity that we sometimes forget about. Ask, who used to do this job? Who's still around?
And I would add also, there's people in your different areas. I don't know about the different colleges and that you guys work at, but in the Division of Student Affairs and Enrollment Services, there are leadership programs and mentoring programs. You just have to reach out to your director or your person that, whoever manages you, and let them know that you're interested in those things. If you don't reach out, you won't have a way to find out, you know, what's available to you. But within that, our division, there are things that come out annually and biannually that gives us those opportunities and say, hey, are you interested in being a part of something that is what I want to say, how you doing yourselves?
I think one other positive is what I hear in your voice and what I hear in others when they say it's hard to find a mentor is, am I worthy of investing in? And that's really the caveat. Because when a mentor invests in you, that seed should grow into something that turns into something else, and it multiplies and grows. And so the question really becomes, listen, I'd love to ask you some questions. I'd love to pick your brain. And I can tell you that the information you share with me will land on fertile ground. I'm going to share it with others. I'm going to be the caveat that shares the messages you share with me. So I know that when I spend a few moments with you, it really multiplies and duplicates. And who wouldn't want to say that happened? And then, of course, when you get the golden opportunity to, at any moment, speak about how you got to where you got to, and being able to say that it was because of my mentor. Oh, I didn't know I was your mentor, right? It was because of my mentor and the information that she shared with me that I was able to accomplish this particular goal. You must know that that door will be wide open the next time you call.
You've got lots of piggybackable comments here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was gonna say
But I'll guarantee you, anybody who's in this room right now, anybody who's watching right here, are you worthy of being mentored? Yes, absolutely you are. You are pursuing learning. You are pursuing advancement in your career. If you can hear my voice right now, you absolutely are worthy of mentoring. And I'll make an open offer. I can't say that I would be the best mentor for everybody, but I know a lot of people in a lot of different positions in the university, and man, I would do my level best to find somebody who can work with you. So reach out to me anytime, Andy@UH.edu.
So I just wanted to on the mentorship piece, I think also be open to how you define mentorship. Right, because when you use that word, it can come across different perspectives from different people, different backgrounds, you know. So just be open to that. And I agree with Tiba. It's more about, can we build a relationship? Can I call you? Can we set up a coffee date? You know, can I reach out? Or just a lot of us email, right? Email. But just a quick note to say, hey, I ran into this. I want to pick your brain about this. But I wouldn't sell yourself just on using the word mentor, because again, mentor means a lot of things for different people. It's really, what are you trying to achieve? And if you're trying to achieve a connection, a resource, a friend, an ally, or just an ear, I mean, it's just about asking and knocking. The other thing I'll say is, Tiba mentioned about opportunities outside your scope. So look, and also, talking about your passion. What's your passion in your work? If your work is one thing and your passion is there, and then you also have another passion outside of your work, then seek those opportunities. Just because it's not in your job description doesn't mean that you can't do that. We work in a huge campus, lots of people, lots of different interests. Seek those opportunities, volunteer. And the last thing that I'll say is, as far as mentorship and being active, is look at professional organizations. All right, and so the university is doing a tremendous job. We had Ruth talk about all the wonderful things that they're doing, which is great, right? Because it's a focus and it's to help continue to grow the staff and the resources within our community. But there also are professional organizations that I would venture to say that we all fall within or know about. So reaching out to those professional organizations, because they always would have, I don't want to use the word, but a mentorship program, or they'll have volunteer opportunities for you to work in or seek and connect with other people that you might identify with more closely.
By all means, yes, please. Here.
Okay. Now, Toastmasters, I've never had a mentor before, never a formal mentor. So I'm going along, and I met Karen Blake. And Karen has been my first formal mentor. She has been fantastic. So part of Toastmasters program, there's actually a program inside there to be a mentor, how to be a mentor. And so that's a path you can take, a part of Toastmasters. Now, as Toastmasters, especially me founding the club, I'll be your mentor. So it doesn't always have to be with public speaking, it can be with anything. So I'm there available to ask whatever question you want to ask. So that's just part of Toastmasters. I just want to bring it to you. It's okay.
All right, I think we have time to entertain another question if anyone has one. All right. In that case, I'm going to open it back up to the panel. Do you all have anything that you'd like to say in closing?
I'd like to say define success for yourself. If you can define what is successful for you, and if you can define what you think you like to do, it'll be a lot easier to find the path that gets you there. So you could be working in a department and get a promotion and get 3 promotions, but be incredibly unhappy. So happiness won't be defined as necessarily the next position you have, but it will be defined as to what you find enjoyment in, what you find pleasure coming to work, because you spend more time at work than you'll spend at home or with family. So I would say find a thing that you are passionate about, something you enjoy, something you like, and then work your way back to how do I make that pay me? How do I find one position like that at the university? Most people have gone university to university to accomplish their goal. Very few people have gone straight up the ladder to accomplish what they want to get to. That being said, what we were talking about in terms of development, getting all these different skills is going to be crucially important, because you may take several different turns to arrive at your destination.
Anyone else?
Sure, I told you, I always have something to say.
Please.
I was going to say, maybe a related topic that I've heard in a lot of questions that were sent to us are sort of how do you climb that career ladder, or how do you set yourself apart? I personally think there's certainly, everyone has a unique path to that, but I think that there are some key fundamentals that you can do and achieve to have that happen. One of which is visibility. And what do I mean by that? I mean that you have to go talk to other people. You can't stay shut in your office or your space and expect to sort of go anywhere. It doesn't mean that you have to do a song and dance every time you see someone, but it does mean that there's a civility and the ability to talk to others and find things in which you can relate to them is really, really important. I think that another good piece of advice is to look for niches and problems that are occurring in your workplace, and be the person that is either willing to develop the skills to solve them, or help develop or create a plan to solve them. I can tell you as a manager, people complain to me all day long. My staff, they're really my supervisors. They tell me what to do. And so, well, they do, and that's their job, is to tell me like what's going on, what the problems are, and how I can help them solve them. But my favorite employees are the ones that when they bring me problems, they also bring me potential solutions on how to solve it, or a plan, or say, hey, I know we have this deficit. I've read there was a class about that. I might let me go take this class over here, and I might be able to help brush us up on that particular problem, to make us more, more flexible or nimble. I think that you should volunteer for things that are outside of your traditional circle. And I don't care if it's like the Sunshine Committee, where your job is to go pop popcorn and walk to other people's offices. I don't care if it's the Cougar Movers. People and how you're doing it. You need to do it with effulgence. If you're there, if you're like, oh yeah, I signed up to do Cougar First Impressions. Oh my God. People pay attention to that type of energy. They really, really do. And if you're not doing it with enthusiasm, then don't do it. Sign up, because people will notice the idea that you are high. That people will notice your character, and you can always be trained for a skill for a job, right? So please keep that in mind. And then the other thing is to never be intimidated by people that you feel are sort of more gifted than you. I can tell you, I certainly have suffered from imposter syndrome. I think a lot of us do. If you're kind of, again, in that deep, dark night of the soul, you're like, man, these people really think I can do stuff, and they don't. If they ever really knew that I can't, these people think I know things. Boy, that's a dangerous assumption. But I think there's something to be about surrounding yourself with people with different talents than you, because and surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. That's been the golden ticket for me as a manager, and I guarantee you that's been the key to my success, is that I've had some former employees and colleagues in the room. These people are so much smarter than me, thank God. And because those gifts are things that we can leverage. And there are things that I can learn from and that we can learn from as a team. So don't be intimidated by other people's gifts and talents. Learn from them and leverage them, you know? So those are sort of my sort of nuggets, I think, that I've learned. And one final thing is there really is something as corny as the whole knowing yourself, knowing yourself very well. You really need to take inventory of what it is you want, how you work, and what environment makes you happy. I personally, during the interview this week for my future boss and one colleague who's also in the room, pretty much asked, "Are you fun? Are you fun?" Dead serious. And I was like, and we were like, right on. And why is that? I can tell you, me personally, if I can't have fun at work, I'm not interested in going to work. If I don't have the flexibility in terms of time or respect for my family or my hobbies or travel, which is a big passion of mine, I don't want that job. I don't want. I need to have people that are excited and fun and can make a joke and make sweeping the floor fun. Because I'll sweep the floor in a minute. But I need to have that energetic environment. And I need a manager who is also okay with sweeping the floor right next to me and saying, "Hey, good job. We had a great time doing that. Let's do it again tomorrow." So you really have to take inventory on what it is, what's truly important to you, and that will really help you focus your path.
Well, I don't want to single out any one thing, but I do want to single out one thing. There was a question regarding, so to the person that's been here for 22 years and feel as though they're stuck in their position, again, my encouragement to you would be invest in yourself. And sometimes people may think in our economy, in our systems today, there may not be a whole lot of extra to invest in yourself. So pre-UH and now at UH, both departments I worked in had libraries, extensive libraries. I was that one support staff that checked out stuff from the library, whether it was a video or whether it was a book, had nothing to do with what I was doing there, but it had everything to do with the product of what we did collectively, which is, again, mental health. So that's the thing that drives me, that's the passion that I have, and it can start with just a simple hello, but I couldn't afford to work at the toll system where I really wanted to work to tell everybody hello. But you have to be able to invest in yourself, and that investment doesn't really have to cost a lot of money. It just needs time. And the time that you have spent at the university, you can do whatever you want to do and whatever you create for yourself, including upward mobility, career paths, but more importantly, value within yourself.
I'll just tag on quickly to what Natalie said. Use your free time on campus to have fun. Go to a Blaffer exhibition, go to a tailgate, take a public art tour, ask people that are there what they do, and just make friends.
All right. Before I let them come up here and give away some prizes, I have a shameless plug. It's been playing back here behind me on the projector. We do have the socket blanket drive going on right now. When you see those boxes all around campus, please consider going through your closets and saying to yourself, do I wear that? Do I wear that? Do I use that blanket? Do I use that sweater? Because there are people that will. And we will get all of that new and gently used stuff out to folks who definitely need it. So please go through your closets and contribute to Sock and Blanket Drive.
Is this for
No, it is not just for socks and blankets. In fact, there's an extensive list. As soon as let me just go to the slide and bring it on up to show you, because they will take darn near anything. So here you go. We've got items needed: socks, clothing, cotton blankets, trash bags, linens, pajamas, gowns, sheets, slippers, anything you can think of that somebody might, toiletries. Most of this stuff ends up at Star of Hope, so really anything that you want to contribute, anything, if you want to go out to the dollar store and buy a whole pile of toiletries for folks, man, donate it all. We will absolutely take it. We'll make sure that it gets to people who can use it. So no, it does not have to be just socks nor blankets. It can be just about anything that you can think of that people might need. All right, thank you for coming. We're going to give away some stuff now.
And